Hello everyone, welcome back for some more Let's Play the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We might be finishing the first game today. From what I've been told, I am damn close. Thankfully, it's kind of nice. I get a few of the members who've joined my channel who pay a small fee and get the videos early. They're able to be like, yo, you're like real close to the end. And I'm like, oh cool, thank you for telling me. That's actually so nice to know. Yeah, we might. We'll see. There might be maybe one more part for this first game, right? But we'll see.
So, is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited by the pawnbroker by Mr. McGinnis 2 months ago.
It's going to be a music box player. I can literally already see the thing on the top. And on the night of Mr. Winnie Banks' murder, the only item on the shelves that was touched by whoever broke into the shop. Quick, let's open it and see what's inside. Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh, good gracious. It's no ordinary box, it seems.
Wow! Although in truth I had an inkling that might be the case. It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement.
But then, was it too much to expect?
I think it'd be reasonable to assume that it is a device for playback of this disc, my lord. Well, what are we waiting for?
So, here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilden's disc, deposited at Winnie Banks at much the same time.
Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not Mr. McGilden's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus.
But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell this music box disc to Mr. McGilden?
I believe the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord. And because we're, not in a time where people can record it, who cares if they're going to be like, oh, someone could listen to it and then, this song is not supposed to go out yet. Who cares? No one has recording devices. Just freaking play it.
Yes, very well. Let the court now listen to this curious disc at last.
Wait, my lord.
Oh, good grief. What's the meaning of this, Inspector?
Oh, the music box and the disc are, well, they're unrelated to the case. No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music. This disc may very well have motivated the culprit in the case to commit murder. Clearly, there's every chance that it's fundamentally important to understanding what happened. The prosecution has no objection. But no, that piece of evidence is police property now. You can't... Clearly, Scotland Yard has some vested interest here, but it is the policy of the prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening. Girl! Me chippies!
No further delays, please. Play the disc. Daddy wants to dance.
You're gonna have to take that off, I think. It's Morse code. It's Morse code.
What on earth? Well, that's certainly not what I would call music. Daddy gets no jams from this.
No. It's just the same note played over and over in an irregular sequence.
Mr. Graydon.
This really is priceless. Hoo, ha, I can dance to this. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom.
Well, with much regret, I feel the court must accept this music box offers little in the way of clues.
Benzeeks, you're smart. You know what's going on, right?
Are you ready to move on, counsel?
Come on! Yes, alright, it does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music emanating from the music box possibly be a new clue? It absolutely is. It's Morse code. And that's why we have Madame Morse code on the jury. Which begs the question, who assembled the jury and why? Right? I believe it could be relevant, my lord.
Oh, good lord! But how could it be? It's an abomination, Council. Mere noise. It's like 100 gex or something. I fail to see how it could have any meaning whatsoever.
It does sound strange, I agree, but there's one thing bothering me. While Graydon stands there chortling victoriously, the inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar somehow with it. Forgot words, and that's making him extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer, riddle me piss, Naruhodo. Oh, I'll piss all right, buddy. Uh-huh. Just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has on this case? It's the defense's belief that the sound emanating from this music box is not an unusual genre. I mean, I kind of want to see what he says for an unusual genre. I kind of want to because it's funny. What's he going to say? He's like, I'm curious. Let's see here. It could be an unusual genre of music that none of us are familiar with. I'm going to need to drink. Hoo-ha! Yes, I dance to this music all the time, buddy.
Council, would you care to elaborate on that remark?
Well, it could be a new style of music. That's about to take the world by storm, for example.
I think not, Council. Such monotonous nonsense could be pleasing to no one's ear, surely.
Well said, my lord. And here's to my learned friends seeing that remark's true meaning. Nyar! Nyar, indeed. The music, or whatever you want to call it, has to be relevant somehow. It is. I just wanted to see what he said, because it's kind of funny to be like, yo, this slaps, you know? This is a jam. It's not music. Just because this is a music box, it doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Uh-oh. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here. I must be. I'm surprised the code talker lady is not being like, that's clearly Morse code. Like, I'm surprised she doesn't immediately recognize it, you know? And chimes up about it. I mean, if Mr. Stereoscope does, why doesn't she? Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Runo. The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told us what they're not, I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Well, surely you have an idea in mind? Because if not, it will be the death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness. They got me! Oh, I don't know what the answer is yet. Runo, I've just examined the music box very thoroughly. And I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all. Really? Really? The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway. Thank you, Iris. Good. Again, not that it's a surprise for me, but... Alright. Well, if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sounds it's producing have some significance that isn't musical. I know what it is. Let me say it. Huh! Could it be? Is that what these sounds are? Something's just struck me, Runo. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like this one the music box makes. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking exactly the same thing.
I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, Council?
All the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard so far, it's all pointing to one single answer. So I was wondering about this, because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure the music box is not going to contain, the music box disc will not be music, it'll be a message. But then I thought to myself, could you, like, record audio and play it on a disc like this? I don't think you could. You couldn't do the level of detail. It's just a music box. It just twangs off where they hit. I completely forgot about Morse code. That makes a lot of sense now. Why we have the code talker lady there. It all works out, baby. This is great. The prosecution demands that my learned Nepentese friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation. Okay. All right, then. This could be the last chance I'm gonna get to fight back in this trial. And if I'm right, it's gonna join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds on this music box is... I'm guessing this one. Right, I'm guessing it's this one. Because that's the only one about that topic. Yeah, sure.
Take that! Well, today's paper, Council. Oh, look! There's Garfield. He's going to do a little... he's smoking a pipe. How delightful. I love Garfield. The headline is Pawnbroker Perishes in Pickpocket Plunder. Or Pickpurse Plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause.
No, my lord, I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page.
Further down, Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. Yes, it's a very serious matter being investigated at the highest level, I understand.
I've heard that the international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. And presumably, those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams. Of course. Juror number 5. Your input, please. Stop. Me, sir. Whatever's the matter? Have you not been listening to what has been going on? That's kind of your job. That's kind of what you're meant to do. You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Graydon, did you not? Yes, that's correct. And the particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports? Oh, yes. We're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound? Hmm? You don't mean to say. Is it? That's right, madam. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you tap it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. When it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code? I wonder if it actually translates to something if you put it into a Morse code translator.
Order, please, everyone, order. But this is high treason, Council. Deserving of capital punishment. You'll get a man killed.
Too much new vocabulary. What is treason, and what is capital punishment? The sorts of words I'd half expect you to know.
For a sovereign government's confidential information, hostile nations would surely pay almost any price, even giving him a nice hat.
Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. But in the end, McGilded perished, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery.
My word!
In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry. Because if the disc were to be discovered before it found its way out of the country,
It would reveal an act of high treason, punishable by death.
so the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it. And in order to do that, he would have to gain entry to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night. Because the article left behind by Mr. McGilded would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Graydon?
Oh, you think I've been stealing government secrets?
Preposterous, absolutely preposterous.
So in response to the defense accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you? We're gonna throw the book at you, bucko.
Well, of course I do. I've had to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer has been prattling away.
Objection.
Oh? Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies. In response, the accusations brought by the defense. Delighted, I'm sure.
The witness is reminded that the crime under scrutiny is in this trial is the murder of the pawnbroker, Mr. Whittingweg. That being a most
Flagitious? What the frick is that word? I can't even pronounce it. Flagitious. What is this word?
Flagitious.
Flagitious. Flagitious. It means criminal or villainous.
Flagitious.
Flagitious. That's a strong word. I like it. Flagitious. Ooh.
that being a most flagitious offence,
Well, I'm like slobbering everywhere.
for which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear that in mind as you testify, Mr. Graydon. So then, let us proceed.
You may. Oh. Why?
You got to let us have rabbit and book here, Governor. We got things to say.
Well, I beg your pardon. Who do you think you are?
Name's now Skulking. Occupation is professional baddie.
Name's Ringo Skulking, but we ain't baddies enough to set out on motherland. Motherland.
Oh, that's right. We're what they call the Three Skulking Brothers.
Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing. What? They're gonna contribute? A mere communications officer couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sounds produced up by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway, was it not? I've no relation to the man.
Hey, look, all we done is break into the gaff the other night like what he told us to do.
If we'd known there was dodgy government secrets involved, we wouldn't have touched it. They're like, we did break in, and we did do all that, but we're actually good.
Mr. Skulkin,
What Mr. New Governor? What's up?
do I take it now that you admit to the crime? That on the night in question you did indeed gain entry to the premises illegally? And moreover, you did so as a party of three in collaboration with Mr. Graydon here?
Say yes.
We did, Gov, we did.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Quieten down, please. What say you to that, Mr. Graydon?
I have no idea what these two ruffians are referring to.
You little rotter getting us all mixed up in this monkey business. You never said nothing about no government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight-up job.
And what about that geezer whose shop it was, eh? Poor old bloke didn't have to die, did he? Ugh. Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations.
Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it was, I will admit it to the court record as evidence.
Okay, well, we got that. We can take a look at that when we need to. This is going good. This is a good breakdown because it follows a good arc. Because good breakdowns follow a specific arc, you know? Well, first off, let's examine this. Anything else? What's this little dot? Oh. What is it, Bruno? I've just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the bottom of it opens up as well. Oh? Oh, you're right. Well, come on then. What are you waiting for? Let's open it. All right, well, here goes. It's going to be another one. Look at that. There's another movement on the other side. So does that mean you can set another disc to play back on this side? Yes, I think so. And it looks like the two movements are linked together. They're linked? So if you had two discs, they would both play back at the same time. Do we need another disc then? Huh. Who would have thought there would be a second movement on the other side of the box? And this movement is like the other one. The comb's teeth are all the same length. So this movement also only produces a single tone, like the other one? Yes, it must do. Except that the length of the teeth on the two combs isn't the same. So the single tone produced by this movement will be different to the single tone we've already heard. What? Basically, each movement can only produce a single note, but the notes they produce are different. A music box that can only play two notes. Oh, do we only have the shorts and then we'll get the longs next time? See how the form of gilded disc sits in the music box that the man deposited at Winnie Banks? Couldn't be a more perfect fit. So there's no question then this disc was designed to be played in this music box. Yet despite that, the sounds it produced are neither musical nor do they appear to have any meaning. It just doesn't make any sense. I wonder... Perhaps there's more of this music box than meets the eye. Maybe we haven't discovered all its secrets yet. I mean, now I have, but I need to now do another thing. Still switch. It's the mechanism that turns the bumps on the disc into sound, isn't it? Yes, the movement. It's all thanks to the comb with the teeth that are plucked by the passing bumps. Usually, the teeth on the comb are different lengths, so that each one produces a different tone, but this comb is very strange. All the teeth are exactly the same length. Well, what does that mean? It means that no matter which tooth is plucked by the passing bumps, the musical box will make the same sound. Never seen a music box like it before. Yes, it is strange. A music box that can only play a single note. Has to be some significance to that, surely. Interdasting. Nothing up at the top? Okay. Interesting indeed. Anyways, what do you have to say? So is this newspaper headline accurate? Government secrets are being intercepted? How could I possibly know? Well, what do you mean by that? Any important government communications are handled by high-level officers, by specialists. General members of staff in the station where I work would never be entrusted with sensitive information. Oh no, stop. Must say something, stop. Oh, let me guess. Journal 5. We regular communication stations officers aren't as lowly as you're being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up and testing the telegrams used by the Ministry, and Mr. Graydon is the team leader. That's fascinating. So that's lying. That's just lying. He just lied. Like, he just lied straight out. Graydon is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idle. Stop.
To access the equipment used for the confidential communications, Mr. Graydon.
Well, what of it? The transmissions are always made behind closed doors, so they can't be heard. And in any case, all messages are sent enciphered. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand them. Oh no, stop. Must say something, stop. Mr. Graydon regularly attends meetings with his Ministry technicians and Ministry communications team. He assists them in ensuring that there are no errors in important international communications, and he's received the top prize at Cipher Cracking Convention 5 years in a row now. That's fascinating. So you're just here to lie all the time. Graydon is highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idle. Stop. Well, your idol will appreciate it if you'd keep your mouth shut. She should really pick her idols more carefully. I tell you, this lawyer's accusations are completely unfounded. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. Are you sure? They're not? To anyone with a brain, that would be blatantly apparent to that listening to that music box for even a few seconds. Of course, of course. Surely it can't be that my learned friend is unfamiliar with Morse code. Ouch, he looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance. It is missing the long notes, but I thought that the long notes would be replaced by pauses, you know? Ha ha ha. I would be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. A lesson? Here in court? Morse code is a continuous series of two distinct tones. Tones, you say? Plural. Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining those in different ways, you construct letters. I see. For example, this is A, and this is B. But when you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear one tone, don't you? But it sounds so similar. The rhythm of it is the same in everything. But there's no discernible meaning to this apparently random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code. No! Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in the future. Stop. Nothing to say but stop. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it, Iris? I mean, if the government's secrets were somehow being leaked via using the music box, so many other things would slot into place so nicely. Could there still be something I haven't considered? Would it really be impossible to use this music box somehow to play back Morse code? Give it a try. There's still every possibility that this music box was instrumental in leaking government secrets. That's the belief of the defense, at least.
Objection!
Does it please you in some way, my Nipponese friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? It's already been established that to be Morse code, two tones are required. Dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what?
Well, it would appear that the defense has a hypothesis to put forward. You had better present your idea at once, counsel. How do you propose that this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could be used to cipher secret messages into Morse code?
What is it, Runo? Okay, so we gotta do this. So if we didn't do it before, then now we'll get a chance to do it. Well, come on then, what are you waiting for? Let's open it. Alright, here goes. Boop! There it is. There's another movement on the other side. Does that mean you can set another disc to play back on this side? Yes, I think so. It looks like two movements are linked together. They're linked. So if you had two... Yes, this is technically new, but it's basically just putting them together. Okay.
Got it!
Got it.
Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement at the other side of the music box.
What? It appears, my lord, that the two movements are linked together. In other words, you can put two discs in this music box, and the sounds of both will play back at the same time.
Oh, good heavens!
As the court has heard, Morse code comprises of two tones, a short dot and a long dash. With a second disc in place, this music box can be used to generate Morse code and convey a message. This is beyond a joke. I'm sorry. This poor excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. Though, of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with the second disc, that would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And may I remind the court that, as the witness has pointed out, he was not the only one. He was not the one in the omnibus with McGilded 2 months ago, stricken deal over the disc or discs.
Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker.
Exactly. I had nothing whatsoever to do with it.
Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe the cross-examination should continue.
The link between Graydon and the victim of the omnibus case must be there somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. Oh dear, it looks like you need to give your argument more strength, Runo.
You will reiterate your testimony if you please, Mr. Graydon.
If I must, though I maintain exactly what I did at the start of this pointless cross-examination. Some low-class brickmaker negotiated with McGilded anyway, was it not? I've no relation to the man. Well, yeah, you do. It's right here. But we'll continue here. So 2 months ago in that omnibus, McGilded killed the brickmaker and stole the disc. Mr. Mason was a single man with almost nothing to his name. It seems he lived in an artisan quarter some years ago, but people there remember little about him. That doesn't make much sense, though, does it? How could a humble brickmaker continue to acquire secret government information? How indeed? There must have been somebody else involved behind the scenes in all this. Somebody who acquired the disc and gave it to Mr. Mason, in order to take the meeting with McGilded and negotiate a deal. Dear me. You may have it in for me, sir, but I assure you, I have far more class than that. An old brickmaker from an artisan quarter, and this well-to-do communications officer. If only I could find some evidence to link the two of them together. Oh, if only I had it. Oh, if only.
There's nothing more to add on that note. Let us return to the witness testimony.
I do, but we're going to let him finish up.
Look, all we done is break into the gaff the other night like what he told us to do.
Like Mr. Graydon told you to do, you mean?
Oh, that's right, yeah. Oh, I'll say. Silly me thought he was just popping in for a nap after all them years, but the rotter had a dodgy job for us. Hey, Ash.
Or that was like asking me a question. I say, let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say. Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Graydon is an acquaintance of yours?
We're the sociable kind of batties, you know. Sure, let's say Graydon's an old China.
You got something to say, buddy?
Excuse me.
You have something to add? Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin? No, the other Mr. Skulkin.
What, oh, mate?
When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react.
Oh, well, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. I used to have a right old laugh together way back when.
Together? With Mr. Graydon, you mean?
Yeah, with Ash. I mean, look at him now in his fancy whistle and flute.
That means suit.
And you wouldn't Adam and Eve it.
That means believe it.
But when he was younger, he was from a poor part of town just like us.
Is that so?
Oh, but he was always a leery one. He had the brains, he had the savvy. Always coming up with smart ideas like what would never have gone through our heads.
God blimey, ain't that the truth? Remember Milverton and Skulkin's Remember Milverton and Skulkin's milk run?
That's killing it. That's a hard one.
Well, that was a corker, eh?
Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit.
Oi, the geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And we was answering.
Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong.
Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please?
I don't know. Could that sentimental story be relevant somehow? I'm going to add it to the testimony for no reason whatsoever. My lord.
Yes, counsel?
The brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to the case.
But very well then, counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement their testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add.
Say no more. Skulkin's never skulkin'. Milverton and Skulkin's milk run. Them were the day.
Wait. Milverton? We've heard that name before, but we're going to hold on to it. I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business? It was. I saw that name. It was. Mason Milverton! There it is. I'm sure I'm gonna regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business?
You ever heard of a milking stream?
Oh no.
Just a little scheme we had back when we was youngsters. A bit of fun, really.
Delivering fresh milk to the locals, that's what it was all about. That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate, but on what? The business name. So this business name was just a bit of fun, you say? And it was just yourselves and Mr. Graydon involved?
Well, yeah, that's it.
Milverton and Skulkin's Milk Run, was it? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milverton part come from?
All right. I thought clever clogs like you would have worked that one out. That is...
Oh? Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this drivel? I don't... No, sir. Excuse me. Let me guess. You don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying. Tell me, why is that only at the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because well...
I weren't the happiest at homes at one time from.
Yeah, his old man was struggling for money so much his wife walked out on him.
She took the name Graydon then, say?
But Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton? So that used to be your surname, did it? Of course not. This is all bunkum. I've been a Graydon since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on the testimony of these two thieves? I feel like we can get a birth certificate very easily. This is not something you can avoid. You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Graydon.
Ugh. Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mrs. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then. That's a pretty cringe last name, bro. Is that correct?
Very well, yes. So Ashley Graydon was once Ashley Milverton. That information could change things. It could turn out to be extremely important. That's huge. Like, I mean, we have now the connection. It's right there. It's his brother. I'm your brother. All of a sudden, we seem to be up to our necks in a serious matter of national security. Although all this talk about interception of secret government messages is still just conjecture at this stage. It would explain a number of things, though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Ginny overheard on the omnibus 2 months ago, and the break-in at Windy Banks. But the trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Graydon in the omnibus with McGilded. No, that was Mr. Mason, the bricklayer, who was just so horribly murdered. If only there was some link between the two men somehow. If only! I know, but Mr. Graydon's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. I wonder if the key to us making headway with the cross-examination here could be those two brothers. Oh, I wonder. Anyways, we already solved this. Okay, you have no relation to the man, huh? Are you sure about this? Do we present his... Okay, do we present the name? I think we present the old case file. Because that's just simply not true. We're gonna present his... Where is it? The old case, right here.
Objection.
Got him. Mr. Ashley Milverton. Tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name.
Explain yourself, please, counsel.
I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. As we all know, the victim, the man who we now understand to have been negotiating with McGilded.
Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker.
That's right. Only Mason wasn't his surname at all. It was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton.
Milverton? What do you mean to say? Saints alive!
Mr. Ashley Milverton. Is it not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father? Oh, I was going to go brother. That is a big age difference. That's fair. Ugh, I don't. As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you joined the civil service, and it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. The truth is, you have been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it onto McGilded in collaboration with your father. Oh, that was a triple spin. No one's ever made me triple spin recently. The new facts and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say? That you collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded.
By dint of this music box, you mean, Counsel?
Yes. Stealing information being sent in government secret communications and selling it on to McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted. Why do I want to say concocted? Concocted this elaborate scheme of using 2 music box discs to encode the information, as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands.
But a very effective one. I shouldn't have given the scheme any credence whatsoever.
But the deal with McGilded went sour, and the brickmaker met his end. Yes, before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at the pawnbroker. Then, having learned of the situation, you appeared at Windybanks 2 days ago, in an attempt to recover the 2 articles McGilded had placed in pawn there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the police, and the other you never found. So that same night, you enlisted the help of the Skulkin brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. This time, determined to recover the second disc.
Are you suggesting that the second disc was inside the music box?
I?
Well, we never knew nothing about that.
On the night that Mr. Windybank was killed, it was moved. The intruder to the pawnbrokery touched one item and one item alone, the music box.
That's rather ingeniously demonstrated using the 2 prints from the security camera, indeed.
So, the question that naturally begs answering is this. Why was only the one article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to retrieve. Since, if it were to fall into the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that all of this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago? I refuse to accept any of this nonsense. Sir, there appears to be blood seeping through the sleeve of your jacket. I didn't even notice. What? Oh, 2 nights ago. We knew that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime in Windybanks' pawnbrokery. 1 took the life of the pawnbroker himself. 1 struck the pouch around Sholmes' waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm you seem to be trying to hide. It's a bullet wound, isn't it? I's got you now, me old China.
Time to call it quits and croak, I reckon.
Don't acknowledge my presence there under any circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember, and I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly I was a fool to think I could trust some common backslum thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there in Windybanks that night. I paid this pair 10 guineas to accompany me. And as you've noticed, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. But that is all. I admit to nothing more. Stealing government secrets, negotiating with Mr. McGilded? Who? I can still dance even injured. As God is my witness, I'm sure I recall nothing of the sort.
Well, if he's invoking God, then I guess he's telling the truth. Sorry, not guilty, or guilty, whatever.
He's not gonna go down without a fight. Not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact. Which is... Well, we know that one bullet was fired from each of the 2 firearms we have in evidence. The bullet from the Skulkin Brothers gun hit the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the bullet from Mr. Windybank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Graydon on the arm.
Indeed, it must. We can rule out the possibility the man shot himself. Maybe.
And that leads us to only one conclusion. Mr. Windybank was shot by a 3rd gun. Oh my god, it's going to be his cane. Which can only have been fired by a 3rd intruder.
Oh, goodness!
It's going to be his cane. That's right, Mr. Graydon. Ugh. The only person who could possibly have shot Mr. Windybank that night is you.
Hold it!
I'm shocked that they have all these voiced hold-its for one-off characters who never speak otherwise. You little upstart. You made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. I have a card effect that costs life points every turn that I'm on the field for the user. What's that supposed to mean? What are life points? What are you talking about? Yes, as you rightly say, I was there at the pawnbrokers. I did my best to hide that fact, naturally. I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career I'd built for myself at the communications station. But did the thought never cross your mind? Did you never consider the possibility? What do you mean, what thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment. You see... This makes me a key witness in the case, and I have my hands firmly around the neck. No, you've been lying this whole time. We literally have broken down every single one of your lies. Why would you be like, what? That's not, you can't do this. You can't be like, oh, what's that? You found out that I was actually at the scene of murder? Yeah, I was at the scene of the murder where the murder took place, which means I'm a witness, which means now you have to believe me as a witness and everything I say. What?
But are you suggesting?
I saw it all. I saw the very moment that pickpocket girl pointed the gun at the poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. You... what? You can't just say that. It doesn't work that way.
Order. Well, it would seem we finally entered the last act of this theatrical trial.
Mr. Graydon? Yes. I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. If it is shown that your claim is false, you will have incriminated yourself as the killer. Oops. Oh, I understand fully.
Then I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more. I've let you lie so many times, a hilarious number of times. But this time, you better not fib. Don't fib. You will explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim.
Nothing would give me greater pleasure. What stupid lie are you gonna come up with now? Moment of the shooting. While these ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Winniebank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. He's gonna say that he broke his arm on the lamp, I bet, and we're gonna show that no, he couldn't have done that. The accused in a black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood splatter all over that wretched girl. You mean the blood that wasn't on her? Then she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. That makes no sense. That makes no sense.
Good gracious, this is quite extraordinary testimony. You claim, sir, under oath, to have clearly seen the defendant pulling the trigger. Order, order, order.
It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither is it my intention to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. Hoo-ha. So as you can see, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth now as an act of self-preservation. The truth. Until now, the prosecution was completely unaware of those details. Yes, well, sorry about that. Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. And as I said, she was showered in his blood. We literally saw her after and she wasn't covered in blood, buddy. You say the blood splattered over the accused's coat? Are you sure on that point? Oh yes, quite sure. All over the black overcoat the pickpocket girl was wearing at the time.
Really? If her coat could somehow be shown to harbor vestiges of blood, that would be conclusive evidence here.
Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. What? Only very recently, a German scientist has developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's to true science, not some amateurish detective's dubious foray into the world of chemistry. There's nothing dubious about Hurley's work. His ideas are all sound. Especially when he's, like, absolutely yoinked out of his mind on heroin. Wow, and opioids? Wow, he loves that stuff. Ideas are no use to us here, and science as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as a basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical reagent used. With your lordship's permission, we could shatter all the vestiges of doubt within minutes. This doesn't look good, Bruno. Why not? Well, we know, don't we, that there's blood all over the front of Ginny's coat. If they test it with their chemicals... Oh, help! You're right! I was forgetting about what happened yesterday. Right. It's covered in blood. Don't move, Ginny. I'm gonna shoot. Yeah, it's covered in the blue. Yep, that's a problem. That's not good for us. That's really bad. But that's not Mr. Winniebank's blood. That stain is from 2 months ago. That's Mr. Mason's blood from when he was stabbed by McGilded, who was wearing the coat at the time. Yeah, that's that. Ooh. My lord, the defense objects to the test proposed by the prosecution.
Overruled. Lord Van Zeeks, make it so at once.
With pleasure, my lord.
But while we await the results, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination.
Once they find that blood on the overcoat, Gina will be...
Counsel?
Yes, my lord.
Your cross-examination?
Well, of course, my lord. If this cross-examination doesn't go well, if I don't manage to uncover some decisive evidence or a really compelling clue now, I have a very bad feeling about the outcome of this trial. Okay. So we have to do it before the time runs out, except maybe not. It might just be for set dressing. I was still near the entrance to the shop. Okay. Mr. Winniebank emerged from the storeroom, I believed. Ringo and Nash were scouring the counter when he suddenly appeared and flew at them. He already had the revolver in his hand. Fortunately, I wasn't too close. I've never been so scared in all my life.
Yeah, we're just your regular, mild-mannered burglars, that's all. We don't like violence.
Says the pair who carry a gun. What do you mean when you say you weren't near the entrance to the shop? I was in the doorway, running my eyes over the shelves of forfeited items. Looking for the music box, of course. The broker went for Nash in the first place, then Ringo joined in, making it 2 against 1, so I assumed they could handle the situation. But I was wrong.
I was trying to help me little bruv, but the old geezer chucked me over the blooming counter.
So I pulled me gun on the old fella, and that soon made him scarper.
Why are you setting up upon the poor defenseless pawnbroker together? Shame on you!
Salary Gov. When Windybank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. Okay, he's gonna say he broke the glass, right? You mean that's the moment you were shot? Yes. No, okay, though I didn't immediately realize what had happened, of course. Things crashed to the floor from the counter as the 3 men were brawling. It was exactly that moment that it happened, so I didn't hear the gunshot. And the bullet went on to strike the calendar in the wall behind you. So it would appear. When I looked to my arm, I saw it was bleeding badly, so I wrapped my handkerchief around it. Seeing as I couldn't explain what had happened to the doctor, I had no choice but to wait for it to heal. I didn't imagine it would still be bleeding 2 days later. Did Mr. Windybank intend to shoot you, do you think? Well now, I don't imagine he would notice I was there, to be honest. Perhaps the gun went off accidentally. Anyway, it didn't quite strike home.
When I pulled me gun on him, he tried to shove me out the way.
And then he scampered through the door out back.
At which point, what did you do?
Okay. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. You mean you chased after him? I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. What about this peephole in the door you mentioned? Well, unsurprisingly, the storeroom's door is a solid job, made of stout wood. But there's a small opening in it about head height that lets you see what's in there from the outside. Actually, I should know that, shouldn't I? I looked through it myself that night. Yeah, we knew about that. Yeah. Oh look, she's not even wearing the black coat. And what about your burgling brothers? Do you see what went on through this peephole as well?
Not likely, Gov.
Didn't see nothing of the sort, Gov.
I doubt these 2 buffoons were even aware of the peephole's existence. So the Skulkin brothers were there, but they didn't see the killing of Mr. Windybank take place. Inside the storeroom, I could see the broker and that young girl standing there.
The defendant?
Yes, though neither of them noticed that I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed it straight at the man.
But then, what did you see next?
The accused in a black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. It might be that one. We might have to find evidence that she wasn't wearing the coat. Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defendant was found with a gun in her hand. But that was Mr. Windybank's gun, from which only a single bullet had been fired. And as we've already established, Mr. Graydon, that bullet was fired at you. But no, it wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Yes, the bullet from Windybank's gun grazed my arm, and yes, the Skulkin brothers' gun grounded the detective, but this was another gun entirely. A third gun. The broker's gun was not the murder weapon, so clearly there had to be a third firearm involved. In other words, the accused must have had her own gun with her at the time. But no other gun was found at the scene. Calm yourself, Counsel. Sorry. You must consider the events in order. At first I saw the broker and the girl glaring at each other. Then all of a sudden, the broker turned to run. And it was at that moment, that the little gutter rat shot him in the back.
A chilling image, I must say.
I saw the blood splatter all over that wretched girl. All over her. Yes, through the peephole I saw it clearly. Of course, the stains are invisible now, what with the coat being such a dark color. But I assure you, that garment is sullied with the victim's blood. Well, it is sullied with blood, that's for sure. But it's not Mr. Winniebank's blood, is it? No, that's right. It's Mr. Mason Milverton's blood from when McGill stabbed him 2 months ago. It's so annoying. If only they'd accept Hurley's chemical analysis, we could prove that. But they won't, so unfortunately, we can't use it as evidence to support our case. Bother. Oh, bother. Then she tossed the gun out the peephole. So I picked it up and made my escape. Where'd you put it? Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room. That's right. After the broker fell to the floor, she started walking over.
Oh, where exactly?
In the direction of the storeroom door, to where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated. And then, the girl dropped the gun through the peephole onto the floor on my side of the door. Why?
Yeah, why on earth would she do such a thing? It makes no sense. And then she fainted? Are you stupid or something?
I couldn't tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself from the murder weapon. Without thinking, I went and picked it up. I suppose I was worried about just leaving it there in case any more tragedies took place. So it was you, in fact, who took the third gun from the scene of the crime. Yes, it was yours truly. I left the clear up to my lackey. Oh yeah, that's the term. To my lackeys and left. Clear up?
We made a bit of a mess around the counter, so Whistling Flute here told us to tidy up.
I thinks he's a bloomin' mum sometimes. Well, I was paying you enough, by God. Tell me, Mr. Graydon, when you left the pawnbroker that night, was it by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? You're like a bull at a gate, aren't you? What? What's going on here? Look at him go!
Excuse me.
Hi! A gentleman? Huh. Oh. Huh. Huh. Something wrong, sunshine? That should be my line. You do realize you were just violently shaking Mr. Skulkin. No, he wasn't. Not you.
Blimey, this guy's a bit of a hooligan, ain't he?
What was going on just now?
You saw him. I grabbed me whistle. Why the blazes, he said. Didn't you mention the third gun when you got down to the station?
And why didn't you?
'Cause I didn't know nothing about it, or the flaming peephole in the door.
Sorry about that. I can be prone to losing my rag sometimes. Not hurt, are you? Let's hope he's not allowed to wield a gun.
God blimey. See the way he's looking at me? I'm telling you, this D gives me the willies.
That was strange. The inspector doesn't normally get quite as worked up as that. He would normally grab someone. No, that wasn't like Greg's at all. He's normally all sweetness and light no matter what I say to him. Yeah, well, I think you might be a special case, Iris. Well, anyway, that was definitely out of character. Gregson, you okay, bud? Gregson, what the heck's going on? Uh-oh. My lord, uh-oh.
Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination.
Explain yourself, officer.
I have the results of the test that was ordered earlier, my lord.
Ah, the blood on the accused's overcoat.
Thank you, officer. Very well, the cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. I presume you have no objection, counsel?
No, my lord. Well, there you have it. The report, please, Inspector. Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. From the extent of the stains, it would appear that they were the result of spattering following a gunshot wound. And a report.
Oh, goodness me! Son of a gun! Literally.
Buddy, stop that. See, what did I tell you?
Objection!
Enough of your posing. No! The blood on the coat is not Mr. Winniebanks!
What on earth makes you say that, Counsel?
The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited at Winniebanks, McGilded had fatally stabbed Mr. Mason Milverton. So the blood on that overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker from the omnibus case. Well, the dead cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Nipponese friend? Sorry? 2 months ago in this very courtroom, did you not argue fervently for McGilded's innocence? And yet now that the man is dead, you brand him as a murderer? Your conduct shatters any shred of respect you may have earned for yourself in this country. But that was... I call it a bally disgrace. Treachery, that's what it is. How to determine whether the blood on that coat is 2 months old or not? Even a stereoscope couldn't help the answer to that problem pop out. Couldn't help the answer to that problem pop out. It can't be done. Screwed up the line with him, it's fine. But, we used Mr. Shum's specially made formulated chemistry. Mr. Shum's a detective, not a chemist. And I'm a doctor who leaves stuff in patients. Would you put such faith in a chemical formula devised by me, for example, when I'm a communications officer? I yelled out pierogi to starving boy, and he ran away crying. Not a pierogi! That's what a pierogi is. It's the Russian term for a pierogi. I love pierogis. Love pierogis. Herlock Sholmes is barely more than a figment of the public's imagination. His name carries no weight in the courtroom. No weight at all. How could you say that? Victory is sweet indeed. This proves that my testimony is the whole truth from start to finish.
How do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir?
As the witness said, the accused coat was spattered with the blood of a victim. The only way Mr. Graydon could have possibly known that fact is if he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony is solid, and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth. My lord. Oh no, that's another one. That's okay. I didn't know who it was. I thought it was going to be another police officer.
Been a long battle, this one, but this old warhorse has something to say now, if you please. Oh, Mr. Foreman.
As of this moment, sir, the squadron has reached its final decision. Ready, men? All for one now. Oh my god. Sir?
Guilty.
Oh no.
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 Guilty.
Oh no. Well. Great. We need to examine it again.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the jury have reached a unanimous verdict.
The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt you may make at unpicking the jurors' decisions being equally successful. I don't believe it after I've come so far. How's it all unraveling on me so fast? How very distressing to be held in such low esteem. Is it Herlock? Is he here? Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
Officer? You've delivered the report now. That would be all, thank you.
It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruhodo, that scientific truths are determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind. I know that voice. Even though he was moist critical just a second ago. But now, he's not. Am I going mad? Huh. I was waiting for one time for him to come in disguise. I was waiting for it. Mr. Sholmes!
What is the meaning of this? You look completely different now suddenly. Order, order, order!
What business do you have here, detective? The last I heard you were recuperating in hospital. As I would be, had I not been set upon an errand. What errand?
Hurley, it's really you. You're awake at last.
Yes, good day, Iris. I appear to be rather late to rise. My apologies. Now, my lord, if you will humor me.
In what matter, sir?
I have something of great importance I wish to give to the young lawyer over there. I need no more than 5 minutes. Would you be so kind as to spare us the time?
What say you this, Lord Van Zeeks?
This trial has taken many hours of the court's time, having spent so long already. Exactly, having spent so long already. We don't want to go wasting any more precious time. As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would seem churlish to deny the defense a mere 5 minutes. Oh, he's on the side of justice.
Very well, then. Counsel, you have 5 minutes.
What are you gonna... What are we doing? My dear fellow, I apologize for my tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, you all right now? All right, I'm all wrong. Sorry? I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, man. I asked the judge for 5 minutes. Hoo-ha! But I fear even that may prove too difficult for me. Pray forgive should I pass out. Let's make this discussion as short as possible then.
Hurley, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is.
Ah, well. That concoction of mine was really just a bit of a sport to assist me in my investigations. I never took the trouble to refine it for appraisal by the scientific community. An oversight on my part. Right. Modesty? Surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. That looks like, a lavender for a shiki wrapping. That's a lunchbox. A leaving present from Miss Sasato. From Miss Sasato? It might be filled with jelly-filled donuts. If possible, matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do her this favor. I don't understand. Miss Sasato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew that the culprit would attempt to escape justice by means both devious and underhand, and that you, Mr. Naruhodo, fighting fairly as you want to do, would find yourself in considerable peril. At that very moment of crisis, you were to be given this small parcel. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving present from Sasato-san. Whatever could it be? What is this stupid gun? Oh, it's the machine I made. Oh, the door maker? What the frick is that gonna do? It makes a perfect door. Okay, what is that gonna do?
Look, I used this. It's my latest invention.
What is that?
I call it the cat flap. What is this gonna do?
How are we... I have no idea where this is going.
What's Susie up to?
Are we gonna use it on him and just graft out a chunk of his body, killing him instantly? Ow, that hurt a lot. Why would you do that to me? Miss Sasato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. Oh my god, calm down.
What?
Didn't she say something like that? You really are the best judicial assistant in the world.
Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure.
I thought that was just self-loathing, not a clue or something. Whatever did she mean by that, Mr. Sholmes? That night, when you left Windy Banks in pursuit of the thieves, Mr. Sato made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. That is your answer, my dear fellow. Not at all cryptic, then. So Sato-san used the cat flapomat. I kept saying cat flapomatic, but it's the cat flapomat. The cat flatomat that night. But why? Where are we going with this? What a weird twist. Okay. Your 5 minutes is over. Well, we're out of time already. I'm grateful to you for affording us that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, Detective. After all, the die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation examination. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me, not up? Why do you say it like that? Need to be careful here. If we make a wrong move, the trial will end badly. My lord, the defense requests... I have to do a summation examination. I have to do a summation examination, because otherwise it's over, right? Now it's come to this, my only chance to appeal to the jurors and try to change their minds. What do you think you're doing, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? What of Mr. Sato's gracious gesture? Would you let this final piece of evidence she left you go to... Should I look at it? I should look at it. Okay. Is there anything to look at? Whew, those vicious teeth look like they could rip through almost anything. They're good, aren't they? They're made of a special alloy I developed just for this job. The cutter rotates 10 times per second so it can cut through any door in no time at all. And what are the two... Did she make the hole the morning after? Oh, whoa, wait. Oh my god, hold up. And what are the two parts at the top there? Those are for attaching hinges to the section door that gets cut out. Right, of course. Nothing can match this machine for power. It can make mincemeat of even the toughest of doors. Sounds so charming and friendly when you say what it's for, but feels like the reality of the cat flapomat is that it's a grim weapon of door destruction. Waga is so adorable, so there's nothing I wouldn't do for him, even developing deadly weapons. Okay, so this was used in the interim, I guess. Final piece of... It's not a time for an action. It's time to hear from a witness. But it's not possible for me to bring new witness to the stand at this point. I don't think that's what Hurley means, Runo. Have you forgotten where we were in the trial? Or where we are? Aha.
If the French has nothing more to add, I think we should proceed to the adjudication.
Nope, never mind. Wait, my lord, the defense requests further cross-examination. The jurors have spoken. Protocol dictates that you may not cross-examine a new witness now. The defense is not asking for the cross-examination of a new witness, rather to continue with one of an existing witness. What? It would appear that a rather important detail has escaped your attention, Mr. Reaper. Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination. Oh, he used the keyword interrupt. Cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. That's such a loophole. That's such a loophole. That is such a loophole. Holy crap. So nobody can say anything then. If Runo asks to resume his cross-examination of Mr. Graydon, the court is obliged to allow it. This is absurd. This is, but it's good. I like stupid things like that.
I would remind those present that this is my courtroom. I concur that the defense is entirely within its rights to request the continuation of the cross-examination. However, I will not permit an unremitting protraction of those proceedings. Therefore, I have decided to afford the defense one final opportunity in concluding the cross-examination. Counsel, you must choose but one statement from the witness's testimony and but one piece of evidence to present in support of your argument against it.
A single chance to present evidence?
If, following that, the situation remains unchanged, I shall move to adjudication. Is that clear, counsel? So you will not press the witness any further.
I mean, thank you for being very, by narrowing it down, it actually makes my job easier. Yes, my lord. A single statement and a single piece of evidence. Most generous. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's high time I fell in a dead faint. I leave this in your capable hands. Why did play that animation in so fast? Why did you do that? Mr. Sholmes! Why that animation? That's so funny. Like, they could have done this serious, dramatic one, but nope.
Stand so.
Oh, frick, what is that word? What is... You're doing another word I've never heard of. Insouciantly. How do you say that? Please, Merriam-Webster, give me guidance.
Insouciance.
Insouciance. So insouciantly.
Insouciantly.
Insouciantly. It means, Merriam-Webster, can you tell me the definition? Light-hearted, unconcern, nonchalance. Thank you.
To stand so insouciantly before the court in a state of such high fever, either the man has extraordinary strength of mind or an extraordinary lack of feeling.
I imagine he's feeling very little now. The detective is sleeping soundly in one of the antechambers. Strike a man when he's down, why don't you?
Well then, counsel, are you fully prepared?
You gonna do the big slappy? No, you're not even... he's matured so much he doesn't even slappy anymore. He needs no slappy. Yes, one statement, one piece of evidence. I won't let Mr. Sholmes down, or Iris. There's Slappy. And I won't waste this final chance that Sasato-san has given me. This is going to decide the entire outcome of the trial.
Very well then, under the terms I've outlined, you may resume this cross-examination.
Alright, so we get 1-1. Let's see here, the moment of the shooting again. Okay, roughly, I was near the entrance to the shop. When Winnie threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storm. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. So, here's my question. Do we have evidence of the peephole? Oh my god. The peephole came later. The peephole came later. Oh my god. How have I never noticed that? It's right there. Yeah. Wow, really? Okay. Strange. Didn't think it would go with that. I somehow didn't even notice. I feel like I just thought it was the shading, you know? So, post, yeah.
Objection.
Oh. No. Okay, I thought that was what we... Okay. Do I need to use the cutter? So I'm through the peephole in the door. Okay. So the blood splatter all over that wretched girl. And she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. Is this what we need to do it then instead? Do we present it here? Because there is no peephole.
Objection.
No. Okay. Let's see. Could see him through the peephole. Okay, so I picked it up and made my escape. Do we... I'm assuming it's the new evidence. Right? I could see him through the peephole in the door. Are we going to present this? Okay, sure.
What on earth is that eccentric contraption, Council?
Oh, it's my cat Flopper-Mat, my lord. It makes a way for cats to get in and out of her room. It can cut through any door you can think of and make a new little door in the middle of it. That's right, my lord. It's a device for creating so-called cat flaps. Small doors for cats to come and go as they please, without their owners having to open up. I'm sure we can all work that out for ourselves. But that cat lover's contrivance has no possible relevance to the case. Oh, really? Of course it doesn't. To start with, there was no cat flap in the pawnbroker's door.
Not being a keeper of cats myself, I'm afraid I failed to see what this has to do with the matter at hand.
Perhaps it would help if I described its function another way then. This contraption is able to create a peephole in any door you can imagine in practically no time at all.
I beg your pardon? A peephole, you say?
2 nights ago, we arrived at the scene only minutes after the murder of Mr. Winniebank had taken place. Well, that's right. According to the paperwork at the yard, it was you, your Japanese assistant, and Sholmes. Yes, the 3 of us were together, and it's recently come to my attention that my assistant made use of this device at the time.
Your assistant did what?
There was a peephole in the storeroom door. I can attest to that. Because I looked through the peephole myself in order to see inside that locked storeroom. This is ludicrous. What are you trying to say? Of course there was a peephole in a door. I said as much in my testimony. How else could I have witnessed the crime, for pity's sake? Yes. How could you? What?
Council, kindly say what you mean.
All right, it's time. Time to strike the final blow. What I mean is this, my lord. My assistant made the peephole in the storeroom door, and until such time as she did, the door had no hole in it to look through. What? No!
Objection.
This is a farce. Are you really suggesting that the peephole in the door was... Yes, it was created only after the incident had taken place by my judicial assistant, using this device.
Was tampered with the crime scene whilst being fully unaware of the gravity of her actions. This is a most serious act of vandalism.
For which I humbly apologize, my lord. It was in the few minutes that I left the scene in order to pursue the Skulkin brothers and alert the police. Nevertheless, in light of this new information, it becomes apparent that Mr. Graydon's testimony is riddled with holes.
Riddled with... Well, explain yourself, Counsel.
The majority of Mr. Graydon's testimony that appears to incriminate the defendant is based upon what he witnessed through the peephole in the storeroom door. Yes, that filthy girl shooting the man in the back. However, if at the time of the incident, that peephole did not yet exist in the door, there's no possible way that you could have seen what you claim to have seen. In short, your entire testimony is a pack of lies. Ugh.
Order, order, order. Is there any credence to this revelation?
Objection.
None whatsoever, as my learned friend must surely realize. Exactly, this is just some cheap trick designed to discredit me. I'm afraid not, sir. Of course it is. Just you expect me to believe that a plaything can cut through solid wood?
Oh yes, I designed it to be very powerful. It can cut through even the toughest of doors.
That's absurd. I don't believe it for a second.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
What?
Waggy, cooey, come time for dinner.
No way. No way. Look at that. Look at him. Look at him.
Well,
Young lady, this is the Old Bailey. One does not make cat flaps in the oak paneling at the the Old Bailey.
I'm not done yet. Don't worry. This doesn't mean that the people in the storeroom at Windybanks was made by your machine. And there's no way you can prove it was.
no, but it's easy.
What?
The cat flaps my cat flap-o-matic crates are all of a fixed size, and the dimensions of the people in Windybanks are an exact match.
Ugh.
Old Silky's lost for words.
Excellent work, Iris. Thank you. And now it's my learned student friend's turn to be lost for words, I feel. I believe your judicial assistant has already left the country for your Eastern Island home. Well, yes, that's true. And you may have some difficulty in establishing all of the facts. For the sake of an argument, let us assume the peephole as the dimensions that are a perfect fit for this contraption. In that case, when was the peephole cut? The prosecution demands proof for your answer.
What is the purpose of the right of inquiry, Lord Van Zeeks?
It's very simple, my lord. The defense argues that the peephole was created after the incident using this device. But now that the perpetrator was returned to her native land, she cannot testify to the fact. There's no proof. I mean, I know exactly what to do, so it's not a big deal. And for long as the defense remains unable to prove that the peephole was made, my learned friend's claim amounts to nothing more than a baseless accusation.
What? I'm acting surprised even though I clearly know what to do.
Indeed, that is so, Lord Van Zeeks. Well, counsel?
Don't give up now, Runo. This is the time to create your own opening and force your way through. I don't know if I can do this, but I do know one thing. Sasato-san is the greatest judicial assistant in the world.
Very well. The counsel for the defense will present evidence to support the claim made. Proof that the people in the Windybank storeroom was created after the event and not before.
Quite simple, your lord.
Take that!
What are you? A print from that detective's infernal cameras again? My judicial assistant, Miss Sasato Mikotoba, is an extremely intelligent and capable woman. She also has command grabs, which is why I never had any cause to doubt that she would have considered this scenario and made sure I had the necessary proof.
But the necessary proof is this photographic print, counsel?
This print shows a scene in the shop moments after the defendant entered the premises. Agreed. And it also shows the accused mercilessly wielding a gun in the direction of the defenseless broker. But more to the point, it pictures the storeroom door in the background.
Let me see that print again. But I don't believe it. That really is quite remarkable. The door to the storeroom is completely devoid of a peephole in any description.
Mr. Graydon, you couldn't possibly have witnessed the crime as you claim to have done, because at the time it happened, there was no peephole in the door.
Ugh.
In other words, your testimony is a catalog of lies. Oh, yo, he's spinning out. And then he's back up and he's fine. God, their positioning on the bench there just changes every time. Well, the stand, I guess.
I am satisfied that the defense has substantiated its claim beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness's testimony was entirely fallacious.
That's not the only thing we know now beyond all reasonable doubt. My learned friend's assistant's guilt can no longer be denied. That woman tampered with a crime scene. But more importantly...
Good Lord, there's more of Lord Van Zeeks?
The defense may have established a reprehensible instance of perjury. But that is no proof that this man is the victim's killer. Really? Yes, that's right. What? I was there at the scene, it's true. And I was shot in the arm, it's true. But that's all. Yes, in fact, if you look at the circumstances, I am the victim here. Oh, please. No, what are we doing? I don't believe this. But they're right, as it stands now, I don't have any definitive proof that he is the culprit. Still, he can't worm his way out of it now. Iris, you know what they say. There's no point in locking the cat's door after the cat has bolted. Isn't that right, Runo? As Hurley always says, one lie begets another lie. No, wait, that might have been a line I wrote for him in one of my stories. Well, no matter who said it first, you're right. Mr. Graydon, not only did you give false testimony to the court like
5 times now.
but the lies you told make no sense. Make no sense? What do you mean by such a remark? What you said in your testimony reveals that you know something you shouldn't have known. In other words, there is a fundamental inconsistency in your statements. What?
Objection!
This is provocative talk, counsel. Won't you enlighten the court? Explain this alleged inconsistency. Iris was right. One lie begets another lie. The inconsistency is revealed by the lies in the witnesses' statements. They show Mr. Graydon had knowledge of something he shouldn't have known anything about, namely, the bloodstains on the coat. The bloodstains that were present on Miss Lestrade's coat. That's right, the victim's blood splattered all over her when she shot him. But how could you possibly have known that? Obviously, because I saw her do it through the peephole in the... The point is not that you lied in your testimony, Mr. Graydon. It's the nature of the lie you concocted that is so revealing. You're not making any sense. Then let me ask you a simple question. How is it, Mr. Graydon, that you knew of the existence of the peephole in the storeroom door? What? Well, obviously I...
Has the cat got your tongue, witness?
The peephole in the door was made after the incident occurred. Once I returned to the shop having failed to catch the 2 burglars, Scotland Yard's investigators arrived immediately. Since that time, the police had been at Windybanks constantly carrying out their investigation. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson? Yes, of course, sir. My place is chock full of pawned articles, and my lads had to carefully examine them all. So I gave the order to have officers working around the clock in shifts so we can get through it all. And consequently, there's no way that you, Mr. Graydon, could have gained access to the shop. Therefore, you should have known nothing about the people in the storeroom door. So the fact that its existence formed the basis of your testimony is completely inexplicable.
Objection!
And yet, the fact remains that Mr. Graydon did maintain that he witnessed the crime that took place through the peephole in the door.
How on earth is that possible?
Could I have a word, please, Lord Van Zeeks? Speak, Inspector. Oh, it's just that I really ought to be getting back to the station now to put my report in. There's really nothing more I can add to this testimony, so if it's all the same to you, permission denied. Oh. It's not all the same to me, Inspector, not at all. You will remain exactly where you are until this trial concludes. Of course, sir. Mr. Graydon. You shouldn't have known about the existence of that peephole. Which can only mean that you must have been informed about it by somebody else.
Objection!
we're really going down this path, huh? Yeah, this is a dark path. Okay, we're going down this way. Stop there, my learned friend. You realize, I trust, that the words you just uttered have extremely serious implications. Oh, yes. But the defense believes that the details about the case that Mr. Grading claims to have seen must have been revealed to him by a certain person before his testimony. And in fact, considering a particular clue we have, there's really only one person that could be.
Who's the person in question, counsel? Who gave this witness details of the crime scene to facilitate his false testimony?
Well, yeah. That's the only answer.
Take that!
The truth is, it can only have been you, Inspector Gregson. Hey, me?
Objection!
You had better have some proof to substantiate such a rash claim, my learned friend. I better. Owned by the victim, Mr. Winniebank. Owned by the victim in the K. Out of the Baskervilles. Still nothing to do with the case. Scotland Yard, single bullet to the back of the trauma. Autopsy findings, bullet in the upper back, no things of trauma. Back on a rising diagonal trajectory. Crime scene floor. Oh, what do we do? Showing Scotland Yard. Showing this gains access to the crime scene. Is it just that? Okay. Oh, I freaking don't know, actually. Well, let's see what's said. Consider the fact that we have only been aware of Mr. Ashley Graydon's identity for the last few hours. We learned of it only during the course of the trial today.
Indeed, preparations for his testimony were made with great urgency during our hour-long recess, when the police executed the subpoena and brought the man here from the communication station.
And until that time, Mr. Graydon would have had no idea, no inkling that he would suddenly be required to appear in court.
Are you suggesting that until such a time as he was summoned?
Yes, my lord. Until then, it's reasonable to assume that he knew nothing of the peephole. It was only once Mr. Graydon was in the stand that he realized his position, that he would have to defend himself against the accusation that he was the third intruder. He was suggesting to the court that it was while this trial was in progress they received the information so he could commit perjury in order to save his skin. Exactly. And the only person with knowledge of the investigation that he had any contact with is you, Inspector Gregson. This is a bloomin' outrage. Why would I be giving away details of our investigations this fella, eh? I was summoned to his lordship's chambers during the recess in any case. Had you forgotten that?
Quite true. I had a number of questions regarding the events that transpired at the pawnbrokery.
Which means the first time these two laid eyes on one another was after proceedings resumed following the recess. Oh, you mean that point in time where they were yelling at each other? Since then, they've been in full view of the stand where such illicit discussions couldn't possibly have occurred. No, we literally saw them talking. I've just remembered something, Runo. What is it, Iris? There was one time before, wasn't there? I think it was when Ginny was testifying. Oh yeah, now that you mention it. When the bailiff was dispatched to retrieve McGilded's music box from the scene of the crime. That's it. It was during the testimony. Yeah, when they two were having a moment. I remember finding it strange at the time. Mr. Graydon and the inspector seemed to be having some kind of secret discussion. It would have been possible for you to give Mr. Graydon the information he needed then. Ah, you little toe rag. You're making this all up. I'm a respectable Scotland Yard inspector, for crying out loud. Why would I do something like that? Why would I be giving away confidential details of the likes of this bloke? Admittedly, you wouldn't have any reason to do something like that for no gain. But perhaps it was part of a deal of some kind, and it starts to make more sense. What deal, counsel? I wonder if perhaps in exchange for details about the people at the crime scene, Mr. Graydon agreed to give a certain something to the inspector. Oh.
I'm sure I need not remind the inspector that, if found to be true, striking a deal of any kind with a witness would be considered a gross case of malfeasance.
Objection.
It's becoming clear that jumping in with accusations is this Nipponese student's specialty. I don't do that. With the stakes so high, the prosecution is not prepared to listen to baseless charges, so it is incumbent on the defense now to present evidence in support of this diabolical claim. Evidence? Just what are you proposing that the inspector demanded of the witness in return? The court must see proof of this alleged deal. If Inspector Gregson really did strike a deal with Mr. Graydon, then logically there's only one thing he could have asked for. That must be it. Bruno, do you think it could be? Yes. It's the missing link that would join all the dots together in this puzzle.
I must press you for an answer now, counsel. What evidence explains the nature of the alleged deal that Inspector Gregson made with the witness?
He wanted the disc, didn't he? Right? Wasn't the disc... weren't they fighting over it? Right? Pretty sure they were fighting over the disc. The disc itself.
Take that!
Yeah. Inspector Gregson. Besides this murder, is it not true you've been working on another very important case? What are you getting at now, sunshine? Is it possible that this other top-secret case is what's alluded to in this newspaper article here? Classified secrets being leaked overseas from the Ministry of Justice. How the blade Nora could you? We discovered during the course of this trial the music box deposited at Windy Banks by Magnus Begilded. A special music box designed to play 2 discs at once. Seemed very likely now that the encoded on the pair of discs that were in McGild's possession are the leaked classified secrets. So I put it to you, Inspector, that in order to recover the second of the discs containing those secrets, you covertly made a deal with Mr. Graydon in which you exchanged the disc for details of the case. You little... He's not even pointing at him.
Order!
On the day of the incident, when we met you at Windy Banks, you said this. I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGillard's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over.
No, don't. Don't give it to him. It's mine, that is. Mine.
I'm sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGillard has to be taken in as evidence now. Scotland Yard already knew at that time, isn't that right? That Magnus McGilded was involved in the stealing of government secrets. My orders were, recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT, strictly hush-hush. And that explains why, when I presented this disc as evidence to the court, you objected so heavily, I presume. Because you knew that it contained highly confidential information. Blimey, not likely. I mean, I wasn't sure of it myself. I realized there was a possibility, that's all.
Inspector, surely you're not saying that in order to acquire the second of these music box discs, you did indeed reveal confidential details of the crime scene to the witness. To aid and abet this man in giving false testimony?
There's no other way that Mr. Graydon could have known of the existence of the peephole. It's the only explanation. A deal was struck between these two men. No! I couldn't do the voices together.
Objection!
If, and if I stress if, this sobering assertion turns out to be founded in truth, it would mean that the second disc is, as we speak, here in this very courtroom. Wait, what? In this room? How can you possibly make a claim like that? Because Inspector Gregson is a Scotland Yard detective. What? Well, what's that supposed to mean, eh? As a seasoned policeman, the inspector will have approached this aligned deal with caution. Certainly would not have accepted a gentleman's agreement in the matter. No, he would have insisted on having the article agreed upon in the palm of his hand.
Oh, good gracious! Did you mean to say Inspector Gregson already has the item in question in his possession? He has the second disc actually on his person?
The defense demands that the inspector is searched at once. Definitely. They could only have struck a deal with each other when Ginny was testifying before, and Gregsy hasn't moved from the witness stand since. My lord, please, order an examination of its personal effects immediately.
Well, Inspector?
This young lad wants to tone down his imagination. He's insulted me and my profession quite enough. However, if it'll put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, I'll happily submit to a body search, full cavity. Get them fingers in there. What? He's going to agree to it. I presume you're aware of the precipice on which you teeter now, my learned student friend. You've made a most serious allegation against Scotland Yard here. If following the search of the inspector's personal effects, no disc is found, you will be deemed unfit for court service. This trial will end, and my country's governance will formally demand of yours that you are seriously, severely reprimanded. That sounds serious. And severe.
We need to have a visiting student make such defamatory remarks about our country's most senior police force. It's not something Her Majesty's government will be able to overlook.
You're just threatening Runo because you're scared. The accusation is beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences. It's true. Can't imagine Gregson would have accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical. The disc must have physically changed hands, which means the inspector should have it. But somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here.
Very well, Counsel. You know the implications, so let me ask you one final time.
Yes, my lord?
Do you still persist in formally requesting a search of the inspector's personal effects?
Who could I search? Who could I search? Who else could I search? I'll tell you what I need to search. I need to search some water for my throat because this, I thought we'd be done already, honestly. I really did. And I need a drink of water. So see you guys in a second.